Hello and welcome to the Yarnings Podcast. I'm Christine and I'll be your host. This is episode 67. I think I'm calling it Two Big Non-Knitting Things, or something along those lines. It is, see my eyes darting to the calendar, I didn't write that down, September 24th, 2015. It is a nice warm day in Vancouver, Washington. It is 75 and sunny. Pretty good for late September, huh? And now I got to my increase point, and my little meeple guys are saying, "Increase me." See, I get to 2 meeples, and that's where the center spine is, and I have to increase on both sides and not drop anything. There we go. All right. So, episode 67. Here we come. I have not sat in this room, barely at all, since I recorded here for you last, which was a while ago. For a while in September, the end of August and September, my back was pretty sore and I couldn't tolerate sitting in this chair. So I just didn't come in here. So it looks a little like a crazy place. And then we took all the books down off the shelves that we weren't keeping to donate. And some of them are still hanging around on the floor. So I haven't spent very much time in here, so it's a little scattery, whatever everything is, but we will get going in this podcast and I will share the things that are sitting behind me. Because there's a nice big pile. All right, so let's get started with some life stories. The two big non-knitting things. I have talked about them before, but they are becoming a quick reality. My kitchen remodel. We did a lot of the purchasing of all the things. Floors, counters, cabinets. It's a big shopping weekend after all of the mini weekends and planning sessions of deciding. So everything is getting really real now. And as part of that process, I am relocating everything downstairs to another home. Because we're doing the floors, it means everything downstairs pretty much has to be moved. And that's not an insignificant task to accomplish. So, finding space for the things where we'll still be able to walk through the house for October while things are a bit askew, and making it so that we can actually use some of the things that we will miss out on in the middle of that time. But in the middle of that time, we are also going on a road trip for my husband's reunion, 20th high school reunion, and mine was last year. He's older than me, but I was a year ahead in school, and so this is finally his. His classmates finally figured out when they wanted to do this thing, and it's going to be at Downtown Disney in Anaheim, which I've never been to just Downtown Disney. I've been to Disneyland, and California Adventure when it was still pretty new, but not Downtown Disney. So that will be a really fun thing to experience. So there is quite a bit of planning going on for both of those things, and it's occupying most of my spare time at the moment. You all know that I have to have a lot of resting in between tasks with my fibro and back issues, so it's definitely taking up some of the time that I would normally be thinking about crafting because I'm busy doing the planning and then doing the stuff. So it's quite busy. Besides that, pretty much the last few weekends have been just solely spent on that kind of stuff. Have I done anything else fun and exciting to tell you about? I'm trying to think. Since the last time I recorded, I think was last Monday, so a week and a half. Yeah, there hasn't really been anything out of the ordinary that we've done besides buying all the things. So I think that's all the life stories for you. And let's move in to some yarnings and adventures in knitting. All right, let me turn my show notes back on here, my iPad. I will show you my visions. The first thing on the list. It is getting pretty giant, and I can see my progress because I started putting in the beads. There was one pattern, a completed shawl that I had seen that had this really nice eyelet detail, and I took it a step further and added beads to that because I'll be adding the beads in the mesh as well. So you can see let's see if I can put it over top of that, every 3 eyelets there's a bead. And what I did with the beads is I had 3 different colors of pink, and they all have gold cores. Let's see if I can do this without dropping beads all over the place. There, that's a little truer to color for you. So I put the 3 different colors all in a snapware container so that I could shake them up and randomize it a little bit. And then I use the super floss method of beading. So I string them all on the super floss, the little spongy part keeps them on, and then I make a little L at the end. There, if I put it over my tank top, put a little L at the end, and that is what wraps around the stitch, just like using a crochet hook would, but I have them all strung up, so I don't have to keep picking into my container or worry about dropping these all over the place. It's a much more concise way for me to do it. So I have done this little eyelet row, and on the original 200 grams that I wound off, I have that much left, which is 30 grams-ish. I didn't bring my scale in here, but it was somewhere around that last time I weighed it, which isn't enough for the mesh, but it's okay. I'm not going to grab it. I have 800 grams more, so I am going to do a few more rows until I like the distance between where this eyelet is. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows since that. I'll probably do 10 rows as a separator before I start the mesh, and then I'll do the mesh, and that'll be the end. So my well-traveled voyage is coming to an end. Since I started it before ZK in June, it seems like it has had a good run in all of my conversation knitting, because I've been able to use it for so much conversation knitting and gaming knitting and TV knitting and bus knitting even, although it's getting kind of large for that. I have put it on a bigger cable, but it's still hard to visualize how it's going to be. In an ideal world, I would have it done and wear it to the reunion. But Los Angeles in October is not like here October. So it's probably going to be too warm to wear an alpaca cape shawl. So I'm still finishing it up, and it will be beautiful for me through the holidays. I just don't think it'll quite be what I'll need for that event. Okay, second thing. In my newly fixed kitchen counter crafter bag from Java Jenny, my snappy top now snaps again, and it's all fixed up nice, and I'm so happy. So I carried it around quite a bit this weekend. I'm going to show you that because I have some treats for you guys, but I'm not ready to share those yet. All right, so these are, what was I saying, Toes in the Sand socks. And between all of the events all of the places we went to buy things last weekend, I knit on these heels. So I had half a row here, a couple rows there while I waited for things. And look, they're not exactly, we're just slightly off. There's a little more purple at the top of that one. But look at this. It comes out so the top of the heel is tan, sand color, and the bottom of the heel is purple like my toenail polish. So it's like it's a 50-50 heel, and it doesn't even look like I have interrupted the stripes. It came out so perfect. This is sorry, I can see the other ones behind it. This is 716 sock in the Abitka colorway, and it's got the zigzagular pattern by Susie White running up the edge, and the heels are Fish Lips Kiss heels, and those are going to be done soonish. They'll probably be finished on my trip. I may bring another ball of sock yarn for the road. So that is that project. And then that one, I don't remember how far I had gotten when I showed you guys this. Oh, I'm in the middle of a row. Yeah, I'm at the very beginning of the middle of the row. I'm not going to finish that row. This is my Madame Entrechat, which I'm calling my Madame Rustica. And I am working on the body. I did a different stitch pattern for the texture up there, and I went ahead and finished off my sleeves so that then I would know how much yarn I had left to knit on the bottom. So it'll be more like a short sleeve shrug cardigan, because it won't be the length of a cardigan, but it won't have the longer sleeves like a shrug typically would. But it's coming along nicely, and now I'm just on the stockinette until I get close to the end, and I'll do a little bit of short rowing on the back to make it longer than the front. And that is in my hand spun. This is my Chambord color from Blarney Yarns. There we go. That I spun the singles in 2012 and finished plying into a cable ply this summer. This will be very nice fall colors to wear over my dresses, so I'm excited about that. And I have that much left and a little bit more in the ball that I swatched with. It was just a very wee ball, but if I need to, I will break back into that. I think that's all of the knitting. I'm still working on, I haven't swatched for On the Motorway, which is the one from Midwestern Knits, but I do have all of the reskeined yarns from the sweater that I ripped out. There's big skeins, medium-sized skeins, and even just some itty-bitties, because I didn't want to not save when it was that much yarn, but it's not enough that, I don't know. We'll see how much of that I use, but these bigger ones will definitely work, and I am excited about getting that cast on. So I need to do a swatch. In fact, that's probably what I'll use some of these little ones for, is doing a swatch very soon, like here, so I can get that cast on, because I'm excited about having it on the go. It'll probably go with me on my trip. So that's needle adjacent. And then we've got some spinning a tail. So I was spinning that Blue Moon, and this is my first fractal spin. Let's see, the first one is this one. We it doesn't really matter. So this is how it plied up. Isn't that beautiful? Ultimate amount of barbel pole. It really shines. It really shows off all those colors really well. I came out pretty close on my fractal spinning, where I had divided it in half and then divided those up differently to make it fractal. At the end, I had a little bit of the stuff with the shorter color repeats, but it was only that much. It's 8 grams, so that's pretty good for my first splitting up a large braid of fiber in fractal spin it. It was not a single color all the way down. It repeated itself, so it probably wasn't as traditional as like a gradient would be fractal spun. But it was a really good thing to try, and I will definitely do it again. So this was just the leftovers, and I just chain plied it. Just for a little extra something. I don't know what I'll do with it. I have a lot of these little bits and bobs, but I would rather ply them up and get them off of my pile of bits and bobs. So what I ended up with is 3 different skeins. It is a total of 224 grams. It was 8 ounces and 692 yards. I haven't calculated. It hasn't been washed and thwacked yet. I wanted to show it to you guys while it was dry because I knew it would take a little while for it to dry if I went and put it in a bath today. So this way I got to show it to you instead of just saying it's in the bathroom hanging up. And yeah, I don't know what it's going to become once I wash it. Then I'll have a better idea of what weight it is, and we'll be able to figure out what it should become. But it's very nice. So that is the spinning. The next spinning, I have a 3D printed spindle, which is probably in my mailbox today. It was scheduled for delivering today. And I think I have 2 braids of fiber left. One and this one. I think you guys have seen this one because I've gotten it more recently. This one's probably going to be what goes on my cute little plastic spindle. My other one is a Huckleberry Knits. This is Targhee. Have I spun Targhee? I don't know. But those are the 2 that I have left. That's it. I have spun all the things. There's a little bit of sample fiber from, oh yeah, that's on my trindle. I could have brought that and showed you. I have a little bit of sample fiber left from the bag that I bought at Rhinebeck, which was sitting right here, but I put so many things on top of it that it is hiding. So I'm thinking there's a possibility that I could go to Oregon Flock and Fiber this weekend. That is in Canby, Oregon, and there are some great vendors, including Scarlett of Huckleberry Knits will be there. Abstract Fiber, Wool Gatherings. Those are the big ones that I have bought things from before. And I could go get some more fiber. That would make me really happy because I'm so enjoying spinning. I'm going to have to knit some of this hand spun quickly because there's a lot of it sitting around now. But I'm so enjoying the spinning of it, so I don't want to stop. And I don't think that my spinning is the quality level that I would sell to anybody. So I just need to keep knitting with hand spun, like on repeat. So I need to come up with some great ideas for what I want to knit with hand spun next. If you have any great ideas for patterns of accessories or garments that you've made with your hand spun, preferably multicolored hand spun, I would love to know. So that is Yarning's Spinning a Tale. Let's do some multi-craft wool because on, well, I did a little bit of it earlier, but I showed you my little box last week because I had just gotten all this stuff. Oh, look at this. So the box I got, my sewing scissors fit in there diagonally perfectly. And I have cut out hexes. So I have a hex cutter, make hexes, and then cut out fabric around those, pin them on, and then baste around the back, tightening them in so it's firmly around those edges so that then they can be attached together. I have not started attaching any together. I'm just prepping hexes right now. So I have 7 of each of the 4 colors of fabric that I purchased. And this one. So that's what I've got right now. My next goal is to make this exact same amount again, because this will make me flowers. Let me show you on my book. I bought All Points Patchwork. I had a copy from the library and now I own it because I wanted my own copy. I know that I'm enjoying this and I invested in getting some tools for it, so it seemed worth being thoughtful enough to buy the book and show that I was that into it, you know? It just gives it that extra weight that, oh yeah, this is really something I'm gonna like. It's okay, I can buy the book. I don't need to just keep checking it out of the library. Support the writer. I'm looking for a picture of the little hexes. So, like on the front of this bag, these little motifs right there have 6 hexes around the outside and 1 in the middle. So right now I have enough for 4 of those flowers, and I'd like to have 8. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but that will give me a nice balanced amount of what I have. And then after that, maybe I could make more, but I have enough hexes punched out to do another set to make 8 flowers. So I'll be sewing them together, hopefully in the car. Hopefully I can do that without it being too bumpy and all that. And that will be fun. I'm really enjoying this. So my little toolkit has hexes in one of my Miss Pearl tins. I showed you this one just recently. And then I have a magnet in there from Twisted, which is a Portland store, that is keeping my needle a little more secure, and I can actually set it on the back of the thing because the magnet goes through. So I have that. I have short pins. I have a couple different colors of thread. This one I'll use to sew them together. I have a needle ripper, a seam ripper, there we go. And then the 4 colors of fabric, my scissors, and I have a pair of paper scissors that will also go in there. And they all fit in here nicely when I don't close the fabric in the side. And it makes it a really nice carrying case for when I go on the road. Makes it sound like I'm going on some magical concert tour or something. All right. So for Knitting Community, we still have the Conversation Cal going on. Knit things that you can do other things with and go post about them in the thread. This is the August-September thread, which means we will be closing that awfully soon. So if you haven't gone and participated, you don't have to have a finished object. Go and get your name in there, and there will be prizes. I have several things. I don't have them out to show you. I might just draw prizes, and and put it in the next episode. I'm not sure if I'm going to get an episode next week or if it will be while I'm in the car the following week. May do some on the road podcasting. Okay, so let's move into some non-knitting segments. These will go quick. I don't have a lot. Now playing. I played my first board game for September last night. That's so backwards from my norm, but we've been busy. I wasn't able to sit at the table very long, so we played Legendary last night, again with the Secret Wars expansion on top of all the other expansions we had. At first we tried playing with my little randomizer app. We tried playing one that had Thanos as the mastermind and Thanos as a hero, because now you can play bad guys. Thanos against Thanos, it was just too hard. They killed us immediately. So we tried again. Excuse me. All right. Now watching. I am finishing up the... Excuse me. Let's have some water. I am finishing up the West Wing. Those hiccups come at the most inopportune times. West Wing, I am on the final season, season 7. I'm kind of sad to be ending it because I am enjoying it so much. We also watched The Wolverine, which is different than X-Men Origins Wolverine. This is another movie, and it's between, I guess, between X3, The Last Stand, and Days of Future Past. I think chronologically, at least. And storyline was pretty crazy, but there were some interesting things about it. It was kind of fun. So now we get to watch Days of Future Past. Oh, what was the other one? Maybe Days of Future Past is the newest one. Crap, I can't remember. It's the other one that was before that. The first one that had the young Charles Xavier and Magneto. Eric Lencher. There we go. So we are still watching those. We also restarted Pushing Daisies. That one we periodically will pull back out of the closet because we need to see it again. And those are so happy and cheerful and colorful. They make me happy. And I forget how happy they make me when Eric suggests it. Think, oh, well, we could watch something else. And then I start watching, I'm like, oh yeah, I liked this a lot. Now reading, I showed you All Points Patchwork. I'm also reading, we finished Snuff by Terry Pratchett. And I'm reading a devotional by Debbie Macomber called Knit Together. You can find me on Goodreads as Katie Elby. For Book of Cooking, we did Salad Monday last night on a Wednesday. Earlier in the week, I made heart-shaped biscuits and vegetarian gravy. And banana cake last week. That was really exciting. I did a box mix and then added banana to it and put Cake Mix Doctor's caramel frosting on it, which I love. And I'm trying to plan some freezer food for while our kitchen is under construction. Some of that time will be while we're gone, but the countertop has a big turnaround time, so there will be a lot of time that we won't have full use of our kitchen. We'll have the microwave and we'll have the fridge, but we won't have easy access to things that go on the countertop. I found a pile of paper plates in the garage. So if you watch my Instagram, you'll probably see dinners on strawberry shortcake plates and heart-shaped plates. These are all paper plates that I've collected and stashed away for a day that I need them. So we will not have to use the bathroom sinks to wash dishes as much if we do it that way. I'm going to set up my toaster somewhere so that I can make toaster waffles. I'm going to make a big batch of waffles at some point next week in my spare time and have that frozen to be easily turned into lunches. Try and do a lot more grab and go, things that don't require having tons of cutting boards and prep work and using the stove for the most part. I'd rather not. I'm just not going to have enough counter space to do that. So, book of cooking will be interesting. I'm going to try and continue to be mindful of what I'm eating and try not to eat bad just because I can't cook it from scratch. Not bad, but just less. I want to make sure that I'm still focusing on fruits and veggies, even though it will be a little harder. So just mindfulness. For fanciful chatter, I had to bring the soap from the bathroom because I got my husband one of the Perfectly Posh soaps because I am enjoying mine so much. I'm using one that's discontinued called Seize the Day. And I got Eric the Hoku Koki. And this one, I don't know if that's how you say it. This one is still available. I'll link to it in the show notes to my Perfectly Posh site if you want to buy it, and I'll get a little bit back. It smells like, it says go nuts for our island delight. It's kukui. I bet Mel, if single-handed, or with Mel, would know. Kukui nut oil and cocoa butter, glycerin and palm oil. So it smells kind of like warm macadamia nuts. And the bathroom has smelled so good since he opened it. We have a single soap dish, and so we've been cutting our soaps in half so they both can, so this is the second half in there. That way we both can have our soaps in there without having, we only have a little small ledge that they sit on. And, oh my goodness, so good. I'm really glad that I got him this. So, if you want your husband to smell good. Actually, I would use it. It's a really nice scent. For me, I tend to like the more fruity scents. Not necessarily perfumey, but the one that I have is agave and cherry. So I tend to use the more fruity scents. This one's reads a little more unfruity. There you go, unfruity. Oh, sorry, that was the beads. Okay, so happiness continues. In yoga the last 2 weeks, we have been talking about our feet and being grounded. And sometimes it's hard to feel grounded in a busy situation. I am really excited about my new kitchen that's coming. I am really going to enjoy my trip with Eric to go down for his reunion. And so I'm trying to keep those thoughts in my mind that even though this is a lot of work right now, it's temporary. And staying grounded in that thought that for right now, it's busy, but I am excited for what's to come. I am excited for what the promise is. And until then, I'm going to be as grounded about it as I can. So as far as our feet in yoga, we did a lot of interesting things to help us feel grounded, to show us the edge of our balance. And it really was a good challenge for me because my feet are where my pain shows up a lot of the time. And I was glad to have had some of those skills that now I can kind of look back to and try them out and see if they help my pain. And that's a good thing. So, hope you can feel some groundedness in your life this week. All right. I think that's it for today. So, you can follow me around on the internet. I am Christine with a K on Ravelry. I am KDLB, just the letters, on Instagram. You can watch the Ravelry group and enter the conversation. It's Cal on Yarning's podcast group on Ravelry. And the show notes with links to everything that I talk about is at yarningspodcast.com, all squished together. Okay, so I'll see you guys soon. We'll see if I get another one in next week or if it will be while I'm in the car in 2 weeks. But I will talk to you as soon as I can. All right, thanks for visiting with me today. Till next time, that's the story.